hyped because TXT's comeback is literally days away. And there's 4 concepts that we are going to break down today. Theories, story tie-ins, themes of the album. I'm Lena, welcome back to the Theory Garden. And come along with me, let's get this video started because there is a lot that we want to cover today. And you know, by the way, reminder to tap the like button so that more people can see this video. It really helps me out. Okay, let's go. Sometimes magical moments can be found in the most unmagical of places. So TXT's The Name Chapter Freefall comes out on Friday, October 13th. Friday the 13th, yes. What a great day! It's actually really easy to see how this ties into like the story and the kind of more horror-esque themes that were present in their previous albums. But also there's songs like Do It Like That and Back for More that are also on this album. And I will say that those 2 songs don't actually fit what my preconceived notions for what this album was going to be, like in terms of sound, considering, you know, Friday the 13th, it's October, kind of like spooky season. But I do think that like TXT in October did always have that more like magical, fun feel to it as well. So maybe that's like the magic side, and then we're gonna get some songs on the album that are gonna be a little bit more, you know, different. Just as an example of what they've done this in the past, for the Magic album, the Dream Chapter Magic, they had an Arcadia version, which was like at nighttime, and they actually highlighted a date in October 32nd. And this was shown just in the concept photos, kind of through the surveillance camera. It was dated with that date. And it's shown up a couple places otherwise, but for the most part, they've done stuff in October. I believe that October 31st was the Magic Island music video, which is when it took place. So definitely they've done stuff in October, and it's kind of always had like that magic feel. And so I kind of feel like we can kind of expect that vibe a little bit with Freefall as well. And also, you know, just like how Sugar Rush Ride took us back to the intro videos, I feel like Freefall is definitely going to talk a little bit more about the Dream Chapter as a whole. And same as with Sugar Rush Ride, I think it's going to cast it in a different light. I did make a video describing the Korean version and the Japanese version of Sugar Rush Ride, so maybe check out those videos later if you're interested. Now, TXT's message has always been about growing up, in a sense. They were in a fantasy for a long time. They tried to escape adulthood in general, and now they're in a free fall, coming down as they realize that, you know, they do still have to live in the real world with all of us, and they can't just lose themselves in their childhood whimsy. I personally believe they're trying to find a balance between, you know, what they experienced in their fantasy and, you know, the grim reality, which is a little bit gray and rainy. Magic might not be real, but like in the quote I said, you know, you can bring magic into everyday life through small things, even if we don't live in a house in the sky. Sometimes magic can be found in the most unmagical of places, just like the album sleeve says. In fact, I think this is a really important slogan for them to kind of bring through the album in general, so like keep that in mind when you're watching the rest of this, like that slogan. Keep it in your head, because it really does seem to be their theme this time around. I also think that they might be highlighting fears about things that we have to do that maybe we're a little bit scared to do if you're like it's not perfect. Like obviously TXT is, you know, jumping from falling houses and they're falling in a free fall, and theoretically you would assume they would be okay landing since they're still here. Someone on Twitter pointed out that the packaging design also reflects this idea of like, why are you afraid of making things not perfect? We have to tear the excess seal of the album in order to open it, so it's like one of the ones that you like, you have to, that was a really bad sound effect, you have to like tear the back in order to open the album and actually access it. And of course it also features the words, tear yourself apart from what's holding you back, on the part that's torn open. So tear yourself apart from the things that hold you back. What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? I do find that is a really interesting concept. It feels like a physical representation of what TXT wants us to feel. Like that is part of this album. They were torn from their dreams and their expectations, Magic Island, but also those things that weren't allowing them to live their life in the fullest because they're always just trapped in the one dream. So I guess their question to us is, what's holding you back and why are you so scared of breaking things? Reality. Just like how TXT is falling, Rain also joins them in the reality version of the concept photos. This seems in line with how TXT previously have portrayed reality, bleak and cold. Something that they want to run away from. But we also get the image of like a flower in like one of the promo images, probably a reference to Moa and like the forget-me-nots that we saw in their Sugar Rush Ride music video, the last one, the Japanese version. And blue is because Moa is almost always like a blue ghost. And this flower is blooming despite the cold. Despite the rain, despite the bleak and gray feeling, there's a pop of color, a pop of hope. Wonder can exist when things seem bleak. Again, coming back to their slogan, magic in things that are unmagical. I think I said that really wrong. I feel like that's what it means though. This actually additionally paired with the names of some of the TikToks they've recently shared as well, which were like, I waited for you on a rainy day. I think it's referring to Moa. They waited for Moa on a rainy day. Again, I assume this is not the Moa that betrays them in Good Boy Gone Bad, but I could be wrong about that. It also makes me think of the You, I think, version of the Frost album as well. So that's something to consider, like, because they were on a date in that album. I will say, however, that I do think that in the Frost version, the date never shows up. And so then it starts raining, and that's when they turn into the bad boy selves. So maybe it is connected. I don't know, just something to think about. Also, did anyone else think of It with the sewer gate? Because they have previously referenced It, and so I got a little bit concerned. I just wanted to mention that because they're later in a sewer too, in a different concept. Anyway. The photos themselves remind me a lot about Good Boy Gone Bad, especially like when they cried in the photographs that were on the ground, and then they kind of like, the rain destroyed them or they got stepped on or whatever. When they decided to embrace their bad boy selves, they got rid of the sad kind of good boy self. I don't know, it gives me that vibe. Because they actually do also look a lot like their bad boy selves, more subdued, but the emotion is there. I will say that in cases like Kai and Yeonjun, it does seem like they're still having fun despite, like, you know, the sort of somber feel. They maintain a sense of playfulness. And this is actually highlighted in the concept videos as well, quite a lot, where they originally ran from the rain, but then they end up embracing it. Sometimes the things that are hard, you later end up embracing and appreciating for having happened, I guess. And I think most people at some point in their lives will go through a difficult time. It may not be as drastic as what TXT goes through, what with the police and everything, but it's still there. Curiously, I will say that Beomgyu is the only one to have an indoor shot out of all these, where the rain kind of looks like it's behind and outside of him, like he's like standing in a phone booth or in front of a window or something. It does make me wonder though if this is sort of a subtle reference to his true name being Hope. Hope, of course, being the last thing that remains in the box. Pandora's box. You know, like when you open Pandora's box, the only thing that's left in the box is hope. So he is still in the box. Anyway, I don't know, maybe I'm looking too deeply into this, but that's why you're here, right? If you're kind of confused about the whole true name thing, I have a video that's either gone up or will be going up very, 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 very soon, because I hope to get it up before the comeback. That's literally everything in the TXT universe. I think that's the title. Something along the lines of that. This is the thumbnail. Look for this one. I will explain everything. It's kind of a long video, but if you are confused about any aspects of it, this should answer your questions. I worked really hard on it for like a month, so I would appreciate it if you gave it a look. Thank you. Additionally, something I did notice about some of the members in this version, Taeyeon and Subin specifically have like people in the background, and maybe it's a coincidence that it's these two specifically, but back in like the Can't You See Me music video kind of era, the Eternity era, they had like Who's the Liar, da-da-da, is in their choreography, and they cross their fingers to show that they're the ones who were lying. So those two were the liars, and those two are also the ones that have other people in their shots. And I don't know, maybe it's a coincidence that they're in a reality that other people are there, but the others seem to not be with anyone. Like if they're in the streets, there's not anyone there. Maybe they're just more aware of other people. I don't know. It's really curious, like, why did they decide specifically Subin and specifically Taeyeon? Let me know what you think about that, because it's definitely, like, something I noticed, and I'm like, wait a minute, you know? There's a lot of words in this version of the album as well. There's a lot of graffiti, of course. And there are a lot of these repeat throughout the album. I think a lot of them are lyrics. The main one we see is stand tall, walk tall. There's also some graffiti that seems to say stand still, if I'm reading it correctly. I would assume that's from the same song. Again, guessing that they're lyrics. They're just, you know, looking at things from a different perspective again, where it's like you have the one stand tall, walk tall, but then there's another one that's like, if you're standing still. You know? Interestingly, at the end of the concept videos, we also see a sign that says, "We repair VCRs." But the repair part is interesting. because we are coming from a version of the boys that have just been betrayed, like in Good Boy Gone Bad. They fell for the temptations that were placed right in front of them, and they didn't really know what to do. So I kind of wonder if that's like, it's them healing in a sense, you know, like, oh, we're repairing it, this is getting fixed. Like a form of acceptance that they will grow from their bad experiences. We also get a lot of text that's about, you know, a callback to Moments of Alwaysness or MOA, because of course they're going to include that. I think it's just hints that, like, even if it looks bleak, there's always going to be someone who's going to be there for you at some point in time, and for TXT, that's going to be MOA. One Dream is also a visible graffiti that I see a lot of. It's, you know, it's their slogan, One Dream. However, that's not the only thing. We also see the word Lodestar, which also I think appears in one of the other versions. But we previously saw this in the Temptation album, farewell version of the Temptation album, which was like on like the like signs that pointed all different directions. And we also got Down to Earth, which is visible in this one. So we get both of those. So I wonder if that's like a lyric, or if we'll get some sort of reference to what Lodestar actually is. Obviously Down to Earth, I think I understand. They also have Ground listed on their like farewell photograph, the concept photo I mean, and they're falling down to the ground, so they're gonna be more grounded now, less up in the air, technically speaking. I just feel like that's a good representation of this album. But Lodestar, what does that mean? Like, star, I get, like, star often references MOA. There's the star in the Nap of the Star music video, which again I think might represent MOA, or it represents their wish that they make to be together, their promise to each other. However, what does the load mean? Like heavy, like a heavy load, or like load like a video game or something, like it's loading in. But in that case, what does that mean? If you have theories about what this means, please let me know, because I'm totally lost. Please leave it in the comments. I do read all the comments, by the way. Just, I don't always reply to all of them, I just don't have time, but I do read them all. I see them. I see you. Otherwise, in the concept video for Reality, I do feel like we get some interesting shots. There's a reverse shot with the rain, where the rain like kind of looks like it's falling upwards. Something that I would say is not usually normal in Reality. But maybe that's the point. Like, maybe it's like them finding that kind of magic in things that are unmagical. After all, of course, even though this concept feels a little bit depressing, as we see them start to like accept the rain, we can also accept that there's things that we don't understand, or that magic that will exist again in those small moments of reality, just depending on how you look at it. I mean, hey, they rewound time before in the Runaway music video, which has never come back again, but you know, that's a form of magic that we have seen them do, so. There's also a moment in the concept video that highlights their reflections in the water. If you remember, a lot of the time when we see reflections, it's also talking about an internal reflection, which then reflects on Magic Island itself. It's kind of like a weird internal process, because Magic Island is their dreams. It's the inner dreams, right? And so they've just sort of fallen from the mystique of Magic Island in their dreams. But the reflection is also reminding us that there's more to them than just what we see in reality. They still have those memories of those dreams, and they carry it with them. At least that's my opinion for overthinking a shot with a reflection in the water. Yeah. Also, one last thing, there was of course a callback to Good Boy Gone Bad with Yeonjun lying on the ground. It makes me think of when he fell off his motorcycle. That's pretty blatant, I'd say. But yeah, that's kind of all the things that I noticed in this concept, so let's move on to the next concept. The Melancholy version. Melancholy. Someone's gonna get angry at me. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing that. Oh well. In the Melancholy version, TXT seems a little bit like they're trapped underground, like in the sewers. Again, coming back to the sort of it feeling in the sewers. But I guess we kind of went through the sewer cover and now we're like underneath the city. So the reality is above us. And now, you know, we're still feeling a little bit trapped. It's a little bit enclosed. There's a lot of focus on the blue flower, again, in the concept video, kind of blooming, so it still holds on to that moment of like, there's hope that we can hang on to that's growing here despite all of the darkness. A small part is always with them. Interestingly, we see a wolf dog in the concept photos with them, which reminds me, of course, of the lyrics of Blue Hour, which is the hour between dog and wolf, as in the time where you can't see if the shape in the distance is a friendly dog or, you know, a menacing wolf. Is it friendly or predatory? This can, of course, also be taken multiple ways. If we think think of the Temptation album. It's how they once thought what was a nice temptation was actually a trap. And in the story, those who seem to help them, like the infamous cat who offers Yeonjun a contract, actually didn't have his best interests in mind. They had their own goals. This is also likely a turning point in their lives as well. The dog being childhood and the wolf being adulthood, where you actually have to do things yourself. You go from having things sort of done for you, where you're an innocent dog wagging your tail, just following people around, doing what they tell you, to having to be a wolf, having to go for things yourself. I don't know. I feel like you can read it as that kind of metaphor as well. Hi, I just wanted to interject really quickly. The wolf as well could be, because it's a wolf dog between the two, it could be referencing both the dog that Yeonjun is seen to befriend in the Frost music video, and also Kai, who seems to switch from the good version of him with the like white angel wings to, I don't even know if it's really a bad version of him, but the sort of devil bat wing version of Kai, which I'm actually going to talk about for the clarity concept as well. But I just wanted to bring that up as another possibility for this wolf dog appearing. It is curious that they're in sort of like an underground space for this again as well, since the sewers are usually where waste goes. You know? And with them in the photos, there looks like there's a bunch of like discarded like instruments and furniture, and especially with the instruments, it feels a little bit like dreams of people who maybe wanted to make music or do things like that, and they've given up and they've become wasted dreams a little bit. They've ended up in the sewers. The sewers are also a transitionary spot, like things pass through it, so even though that's where the waste starts, you know, it gets processed, stuff happens. That's why I think the wolf dog is there with them. It represents both sides, right? The dreams are on the precipice of only being dreams of the past that they once had, and still being something that's actually physically there in reality. Maybe they once had a dream of fame or success, but it's still there, you know? It's just sitting beneath the surface of reality. And it leaves that sense of melancholy. They're seeing these discarded dreams. But of course, just outside, as we see, there's flowers blooming, and there's brightness and happiness. It's just outside the grates. And also, I think it's good to know that sometimes if you throw away one dream, it actually makes space for another dream to grow as well. Maybe if you don't have the music side, you know, you'll still have the flower side. I feel like that might be what they're trying to say here. There is, of course, a lot of sadness in the melancholy version, the sad version. Like, there's a drifting smiley face right beside Subin, where he stares into a mirror. Again, reflections, remembering the dreams that they had, and internal reflection that they left behind in their childhood. And they're there to observe the things that are unseen to the people who walk on reality above, which is what I think Bongyu's shirt might be representing, though please let me know if you have another theory for his shirt and what his shirt says. The one who can enjoy invisibility. I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of meanings that can be attributed to the shirt. Maybe he's okay with not being anyone of note. Kind of makes me think of the rock, not rock star feeling again. But yeah, I do know the shirt was a big talking point on Twitter, so let me know your thoughts. Subin is also wearing a shirt with words. One word. Ministry, with what looks like a crystal ball on it. When I hear ministry, I usually think of the Ministry of Magic, which is from Harry Potter. But it could also just be like those who set the rules in general. Of course, Subin also has foresight, and he can see the future, just like, you know, the future that a crystal ball might show you. So maybe he sees that there are rules that get put in place in the future. I don't know. Am I looking too much into a shirt? Maybe, but it makes it more fun, right? I do want to say, though, that it's important to mention Subin's true name is the one who is believed by no one, which can be interpreted as, like, nobody believes the future that he sees. And this isn't in a he's untrustworthy kind of sense, or like, oh, I don't believe that you saw the future kind of sense. Small spoiler for the webtoon just now. Subin decides that for himself. He says, I'm seeing these horrible things in the future, and I don't agree with it. I don't want to happen. I don't believe that it's going to happen. Let's change it. So he is the one who basically sets his own true fate for himself. Just because the future is a hard rule set in stone doesn't mean you need to accept it. Just outside of reach, there might be like a whole garden of possibilities, and it just might take a little creative thinking to go there. So that is why I bring it up specifically, because of his true name. And then curiously, one last final thing that I want to talk about is the concept video starts with them releasing a white butterfly. Now, I don't think we very often see an all-white butterfly, but in my head, white sort of symbolizes purity and innocence, so just another bit of that childhood that is getting let go. Of course, the butterflies in Sugar Rush Ride are also what caused the tinnitus, the ringing in their ears, that tells them that they need to give up on their dreams in the first place and become a rock and not a rock star. That's something to consider. But it also goes along with the theme of this concept for sure. But of course, like I said, there's other things to be found in the bleakness of the sewer. There's still flowers blooming and all that. So let's see what the other concept versions have for us. Clarity. Lost and found. Clarity feels a little bit more like of a dirty, kind of grungy form of the Crown music video to me. Lots of people have matched like the rooftop with their debut music video, and for good reason, like the windows there. It looks so similar. The name chapter, again, feels like it's showing us things that we've seen before, but differently. And this is certainly no exception, but is a hard rule. People have also connected it to the Starboard version of the album, Eternity album, since they actually stand in the same stance in the same way. But before, where they were dreaming, looking up at the clear sky and the stars, they have the clarity to see this is their true reality. They're starting to grow up. They may have lost that sort of dreamy outlook that they used to have, but they still have each other, I think. I mean, they still sit with each other and they have like this makeshift picnic kind of camp situation going on, which I think I've seen before, like in some of their, I can't think of where it would be, but I think we've seen that before at some point. So yeah, they're still together. I mean, they are tomorrow by together, after all. But this was pointed out in the article, a Naver article, and I will read a translation from Translating TXT on Twitter, where they also said in that article that even if the reality that's in front of your eyes doesn't go by smoothly, you will be able to recall your dreams once again by finding small magical moments in your daily life at the line where the sky meets the ground. I find that so important, where the sky meets the ground, the sky being the dreams and all the things that they came from, and the ground being reality, what's actually possible. And in that scene, we actually see both. We see the dreams and the reality. So again, I think it's about that balance, you know? Otherwise, I think the most notable thing about this version of the album is Kai, as you probably have already seen. It's gone all over the internet because as many people are very quick to point out, he has two different colored eyes, one blue, one brown, which is similar to another fun little shapeshifter we know. Now I do usually mention the cat's eyes are actually blue and green, but I think it's worth considering that this is the cat, because again, the cat is a shapeshifter, but I do think it's possible that it's not the cat, but we'll cover that in a second. Let's talk about the cat first. So let's say this is the cat here in this picture, and it's pretending to be Kai. In the webtoon, it's literally shown to shapeshift, so yes, it can shapeshift very reasonably into humans, and it has tricked the boys before, and I've reason to believe in certain parallel realities it's tricked all of them into not believing who they were. I think it's also possible to be possessed by the cat, but I do think, again, it would be blue and green specifically if they wanted us to be like, oh, hold on, that's definitely the cat. But it is entirely possible that for whatever reason at this point in the story, this is not Kai, but it is in fact the cat taking his place for some reason or another, trying to change their minds because the cat has its own agenda. Maybe we should pay a little bit of attention to Kai's actions as they come back, just in case. Other than that, I think it is possible that it has something to do with his wings swapping colors, since they do start out as white wings, but then they later swap to bat kind of dragon-like wings as well. Almost inexplicably, because we literally have not had an explanation for that at all. And I wonder if, now that things are clear, this is the clarity version, this is a way of showing us that he has two different sides to himself. The white one, who is left in the maze that we saw in the Frost music video, and the darker one that seems to escape it. I don't know, just something to think about. This clarity version shows them as they are. So I'm wondering if it's showing us that Kai can have multiple angles, both the good and the bad, the white and the dark. Especially since in the beginning he was definitely highlighted as being kind of a very innocent figure. Other than that, in the concept video, we do also get an end scene where there's a focus on sort of like the long shadows as they're essentially running towards the edge of the building. The shadow focus here, by the way, I'm sure is intentional. If you remember the concept trailer for temptation. The end of the video shows them kind of like leaving the house to like jump down, right? And it strongly emphasizes shadows at the end. And this one-to-one feels like the same thing to me. They're also, you know, the sun is setting, blue hours passed, so they move on. They jump from the building. And of course, it's showing the shadows because it's referencing the flying like Peter Pan, except we do know from the temptation concept video that they can't actually fly. They just kind of fall around like the kids do at the beginning of Peter Pan before they're taught how to fly. So, you know, they jump down. And of course, gravity affects them, which is of course the final version of the album. And it features like a photo looking up into the light that they fell from, perhaps like the sunlight or just like a stage light or something. I'm not sure what that is, but it's surrounded by darkness and it looks like some kind of stairwell maybe. Again, stairs, not elevators, guys. And they've tumbled down from it because gravity affects them. They cannot actually fly. Unfortunately, that's what they're learning. They're in a free fall, guys. Notably, it is dark again in this concept, since the sun has set from the previous version. Curiously, however, the photos have them in these like sparkly, kind of almost stage performance outfit. They have evidence of having fallen, with cuts and bruises in some of the photo, but they of course are still climbing upwards. To me, this emphasizes that this is not a graceful fall, but they're still clawing upwards despite all of the struggle. We are literally shown both beautiful images in the light, where they look fine, they look wonderful, and then the slightly darker kind of shadow behind the scenes image of them pulling their way upwards. They're clawing their way out of it, you guys. And I think this actually emphasizes the boys' and tenacity in real life, I think. Because the dreams that they wanted were not simple to obtain. Like, not everyone can do K-pop, you know what I mean? They had to thwart temptations to get to the top, and they only tumbled down into reality in this case. Life as an idol is not lovely and perfect all of the time, like the shots that are perfect and beautiful want to tell you that it is. They have to continue to work hard, continue to fight temptation. They have to work within the industry and the industry standards. And we know that because of the other versions of the album that they've seen the bottom where people's dreams go to basically die. They've been abandoned. So I think that these outfits are for them in a way, choosing to be the magic themselves. It's sparkly and beautiful, just like how you picture something magical would be. I'm sure that for a lot of MOA, myself included, TXT's music and their comebacks are kind of a magic of their own. And this really encompasses the idea that I shared in the beginning. Sometimes magical moments can be found in the most unmagical of places. My life, it's just normal, you know? It's not magical, but they can help create a little magic in our normal lives. They invite us to run away with them for a little while, and even though I can't live in that magical world with them all the time, you know, I still have to get up in the morning, pay bills, go to work. Even in those times where life is ordinary, I can, you know, put on TXT's music. And these are the boys that have surpassed their fall. They've survived, they've gotten back up, they've crawled out of whatever hole they were in, pulled themselves through these difficulties in order to help share that magic with all of us. The mirror that they have to Magic Island might have cracks in it because yes, they did fall, and maybe the dream's not as beautiful and sparkly as they thought it might be. And it might not even be accessible anymore exactly in the way that they thought it was. But in a way, again, that memory of magic is still enough to bring everything forward into the spotlight. They have a cage to crawl out of, but just like in the Puma music video, I'm sure that they will eventually escape. Also, I will say it's additionally very curious that there is no like video for this concept. It's only photos. Like it's just the photographs. I wonder why. Like, does the title track, Chasing That Feeling, connect to this somehow? Like, is that the concept for this like concept? You know what I mean? Certainly the name itself, Chasing That Feeling, really, I feel like is really shown in these pictures. Bright stage outfits. They're climbing up after having fallen. They're chasing the feeling of being at the top. I mean, it kind of feels that way, right? I don't know. Why do you think they decided not to have a concept video for this version? Please tell me what you think, because I'm actually like really curious as to why they might have made this decision. Leave your theories below. I'm so excited to read them. But in terms of the track, I will just say, they released a TikTok using like a small cut of the title track song, and in it, Bomgyu is the one recording the others, which feels a lot like the drama music video to me. I don't know if I'm ready for that again, guys. I just wanted to share that because I have nowhere else to put that in this video, so it's going right here. Anyways, that's it for today. That's all I have. I hope that you enjoyed my little breakdown, and you're looking forward to TXT's comeback because, oh my god, it's literally like in a, I don't even know when I'm posting this video. It depends how fast I edit it, but it's in like a couple days. So Oh my gosh. Please look out for my video doing like a breakdown theory of the music video, because I'm certainly going to do one. I'm very excited for TXT's comeback, and I'm currently visiting my family, so I have time to do it like as fast as I possibly can. I will not be able to record a reaction though. I don't have a computer. It's a mess. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and you're excited for the comeback and were able to spend this time with me. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope that you were able to spend some time with me and get more excited for the music video and the comeback just in general, and the album and all the songs and everything, because I'm really looking forward to it. So if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so that YouTube tells you every single time I post a new video. All of my social media is linked in the description down below. And of course, I want to give a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for all of your help. I really could not do this without you, because that's what helps me pay my editor, who edits not this video because there's just too much of the other video that they're editing, but they've been editing so many videos for me, and that's really the only reason that I'm able to produce content at this time, because I'm just so busy with my job usually. So if you want to support me, join our private Discord server. The link for the patron is in the description down below. As it is, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay sunny, everyone. Bye! Also, yes, I did cut my hair. Thank you for noticing, if you noticed. Hello? Wait, can I show you my cat? This is my cat. I'm visiting my parents. This is my cat. Oh, I love you. I love you, baby. I love him. He's the cutest cat.